everyone. So I just realized that my little, that I don't know how to work StreamYard is what I just realized. Welcome back to Tarot Playdate number 67. Did that feel like, I know we only skipped a week, but it felt like forever. It feels like forever since I've seen many of you. I haven't been able to attend a lot of lives because I've had a crazy work schedule. So I missed you. Anyway, let me say hello to some folks who are here. And while I do, does anybody remember our last card that we had, Judgment? Did this come up for you in the last 2 weeks? It did come up for me at least once. I don't know if you remember, but one of the extra cards that we had in our last play date was, or extra decks, was the True Black Tarot. And I actually ended up using that deck in the last couple of weeks. And I got Judgment from that very deck. I was like, okay, I get it. I need to throw my javelin or whatever the heck it was, right? So let me say some hellos here. We have Simon, first one in, Aop. Becca is here, right behind him. And then we have Sandra is here as well, coming in right at the same time. I love it when people are actually waiting and excited to start Playdate. Let's see here. We have Richard Longman Tarot and Tarot Trainee. Antoinette, Intuitive Tarot and Jewelry. Hello. Emily's Tarot Magic. Hi, Emily. And Pal's Tarot Tent is here. And scrolling. All the hellos. Anne Fort. Hi, Anne. And let's see here. I love all the hellos. It's like happy conversation happening. Kim Moon Whisper. Hello, my friend. We have, oh no. And there it goes, jumping to the bottom. It's also really warm here today. We are having sunny summer weather in Seattle this week. It's supposed to go back to normal though. Oh, there's Corvin. Good morning. Actually, I guess it's afternoon now there for you. And Patrice, hello. Oak Mama, hi Melanie. And Donna Riedler, hi. White Tree Tarot is here. And let's see. Elizabeth, hello. Sea Cat, hi. Elle, there she is. Hi, Elle. That came on so loud it's oh no. I'm sorry. I just wanted you to know we were here. Oh no. Oh, Simon. Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking either this morning or the other day, I was watching something and somebody did like some kind of major drop season of video. And I was like, that's no longer my thing. I don't drop stuff anymore. Now that I've said that, I've just cursed myself. But you know what I mean, right? Like I used to drop things every single video, every single live. And I don't do that anymore. I don't think Neem can call me the Dropsy Queen anymore. Somebody else needs to take up that banner, I think. Anyway, let's see. Who else do we have here? We have a Moon Baby. Hi, Brandt. Jackie Jacaranda is here. Aspesia Rising. Hi, Beth. Lori Tries Life. Hello. Love the rainbow hearts. And we have Sue C. C-E-E. That's a new name that I don't recognize. Good morning. And Queen Aset Heru. Hello. Erica, right? Yeah, I think I got that right. And did I say hi to Tyke and Light Moon? If not, hello. I'm sending love right back to you and Bernetta Patrice. And let's see, who else do we have here? Scrolling. Maze Cat from Canada, PEI. That you spelled it like an acronym. I'm thinking. Anyway, welcome if this is your first time here. Oh, and then I saw Lori Kramer right behind that, and then my chat jumped again. Rude chat. Let's see. Oh, I see. I want to make sure I don't miss some folks. Okay, there we go. Oh, Robin's here. Hi, Robin. Nice to see you. And Jennifer Ball. Hi, Jenna. And Nikki Roots. Greetings. I feel like there's a few new names in here. Let's see here. And then, of course, I'm sure we have folks in the background that don't say hi, but that's okay. 20 degrees Celsius, snowed overnight. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's not, I don't know. We're having a weird weather thing. Elizabeth missing the old drop C's. Emily, I drop things in every video, but I just edit them out. But what fun is that, Emily? You could be taking the title, you know. Let's see. My thing skipped again, so if I missed anyone, it certainly was not on purpose. Chris, hello, Elemental Cartomancy. And TPD returns. Yes, like Batman Returns, but with JBT, and hopefully better. Let's just, just saying. I think I made it to the bottom. Tanya or Tanya Riley, hello. And to anyone who's just hanging out in the background, not saying hello, hello, hello. All right. I'll leave in a few for the giggles. Thank you. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate you doing that for me. All right, let's go ahead and put judgment to the side. And let's get ready to pull our next card from our ever-shrinking deck. All right, let me get the real chat or the StreamYard chat up here. All right, I have a tiny deck of cards for us to pull from, but before I do, we want to gather our list of 5 questions that we're going to ask this week's card. And then we'll use the alternative randomly selected decks from my collection to answer those questions using the card of the week. Just a recap for anyone who might be new and joining us for the first time. So, veteran playdaters, can we show them how it's done? Submit your question for the collective, preferably in all caps, and then I can grab that and save it and use it a little later in Playdate. And Corvin is showing us right off the bat here, how can we stay focused on our goals this week? Thank you, Corvin, for the first question there. Whoopsie, that's not helpful. Okay, I've forgotten how to do this, apparently. All right, Tail Raven Tarot. Oh, boy, do I need that question answered. I have so many goals and so many things I want to accomplish, and I am becoming a master procrastinator, and I need to not do that. All right, then we have, oh, hi, Debbie Aquarius Owl. Nice to see you in. If anybody else snuck in on me, a big hello and welcome. And then we have, okay, Antoinette. That might be a little bit difficult because I'm not sure. I love the question, but I'm not sure. I don't know that I know enough, or we as a collective know enough. Is that something? Is your question something that you think could apply to everyone? Somebody in one of my local bookshops was hosting somebody who was going to talk about the Akashic Records, and it was a class that was virtual. I was so tempted to join just to find out about it. It was like $300. I'm like, ooh, I'm not sure. Oh, Maze Cat, you did give me a question. Okay, so for all of us who are feeling stuck, stressed, and completely overwhelmed, what resources are we overlooking, or what? Well, I haven't done that in a couple weeks. That was just for old time's sake. So this is the new Dropsy, is me kicking myself out of my own stream. Ugh, Jen, okay. I get my Playdate vibes back. All right, I'm going to type up Maze Cat's question here. I think I just turned red. Not that you can tell from this lighting, but thank you, Maze Cat. Okay. For those of us who are, this is why I love StreamYard, because it just keeps going, even if I leave. Stuck, stressed, or completely overwhelmed. What resources are we overlooking? Or what do we need to let go of? That's a good question. Okay, if I could spell whelmed. Whelmed. There we go. Chat amongst yourselves while I figure out how to work this today. All right. Jenna's going to be coloring in the Modern Witch coloring book today, which happened. I went to a local shop yesterday, and that all of the Liminal 11 stuff was in a local store here in West Seattle, which was really fun to see. They had the White Newman, they had Modern Witch, they had the journal, they had the coloring book. They also had Kellyanne Maddox's new book, Rebel Witch, right smack dab in the middle. I was having a good time yesterday at the store. Gracia T, hello. All right, do I have more questions? Okay, got one from Robin. How can we be at our best every day? Oh, now that is a question. All right. from Toadstool Tarot. How can we be at our best every day? Thank you. All right, I need 2 more. Oh, Emily. Did you just throw in another one of your really long ones? Let's see here. Okay, how can we remediate any resistance we may feel to emotions or shadows that might be surfacing this week ahead of the super full moon in Scorpio, especially with Saturn in Aquarius, T-squaring the sun and the moon. Like, I feel like you're speaking another language, but that's because I have about 3 astrology books sitting on my shelf that I need to read. So I'm going to shorten this one up just a tad. All right, let's see here. We have Emily's, but you always bring really interesting and thought-provoking questions, which I appreciate. How can we remediate? I'm just going to leave the astrology bit assumed and implied here. Any resistance we may feel to emotions or shadows that might be surfacing this week. And mainly that way, oh no! Emily's Tarot Magic. My oh no was everything I just typed just disappeared. I'm doing awesome today. I think I might need to finally invest in a mouse. Any resistance we may feel to emotions or shadows that might be surfacing this week. Okay, one more question. Hopefully I didn't skip anyone. I know can we revise her question? Are we talking about the one about Antoinette's? Yeah, I just need a suggestion on that one because I'm a little bit stumped on that one. I'm back. Oh, Lori says, how can we achieve patience while reintegrating with society? Okay, that's a good one. Antoinette says, I was feeling curious. I feel like we would have to define the Akashic records in order to answer the question, if that makes sense. Oh, let me unselect. Add the one from Lori Tries Life. I just want to make sure you guys didn't come up with a way to revise. Chris saying, you're very welcome, because I have my thank you end screen ready for when I end the stream today. Let's see here. Did anyone come up with a way? Let's see here. How can we best connect with our past lives or ancestors? Is that what the Akashic records are? Okay, we'll do that. If that makes sense to everyone, because I don't want to skip by Antoinette's question if I don't have to. So let's do that. Okay, no, don't show the empty thing, Jen. Okay, so this was from Antoinette originally. We'll call it an Antoinette Aspasia combo. How about that? Antoinette Aspasia combo. All right, so how can we best connect with, is it our Akashic records? The Akashic records are past, I'll just put our past lives / ancestors / Akashic records. Thank you for the save there, Beth. I appreciate it. All right, I think I have 5 questions. Okay. Yeah, maybe for fun, if you guys remind me, if you want to see like the shop that I was at yesterday, I can post those in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group. It was just a lot of fun. And I try every time I go in there. I didn't this time, but I try every time I go in there to buy something from that metaphysical section that they have, because I want to encourage them to keep not stalking, right? All right, let's, Antoinette says, I felt a weird energy before you came on. I guess it's showing itself in a playful mood prior to Mercury going retrograde soon. Oh, awesome. Yeah, we're having a little fun with technology ahead of that. All right, so our 5 questions as I shuffle here. How can we stay focused on our goals this week from Corbin at Tail Raven Tarot? From Maze Cat, for those of us who are feeling stuck, stressed, or completely overwhelmed, what resources are we overlooking, or what do we need to let go of? From Robin at Toadstool Tarot, how can we be at our best every day? From Emily's Tarot Magic, how can we remediate any resistance we may feel to emotions or shadows that might be surfacing this week? And then especially as we have all the astrology stuff coming up that she said. And then from Antoinette and Aspasia helping me out, how can we best connect with our past lives, ancestors / Akashic records? I really need to learn more about those. I'm very fascinated. So many things on the to learn list. Okay. Here we go. And this week's card, one of the 2 minors we had left. 8 of Swords. Instant thoughts, reactions. What do you think? It has been a long time since we've had, oh no, I guess we had 6 of Swords not too long ago. Before then, it had been a long time since we had any swords. Hey, sis. My sis Nicole is here. It is wonderful to see you here. Let's see here. Justin says there's a great documentary on the Akashic records on Prime. It is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. I'll try and find the name. Ooh, that would be awesome. Justin, are you a member of the Playdate Facebook group? If you are, that might be really fun to post in there. I would be totally fine with that. Or if you're not, if you wouldn't mind, send it to me on Facebook Messenger and I could post it in there as well. That sounds really interesting. And okay, so we have, yes, this card stalks me, says Corbin. You know, I've been getting this one a bit lately as well. Elle, did you get this one today? Elizabeth says, ooh, Maze Cat, she's stressed, stuck, and overwhelmed. Oklahoma says, nice, love it, Gracia. Oh, Becca says, yep, about right. One of my stalker cars, says Antoinette. Ah, thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Let's see. Where did my life go? Where did your life go? Is that your first thought when you see this card, Simon? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Emily says, this always speaks to me of where we are resisting changes and making our lives more challenging than it needs to be. Getting back on track, says Simon. Reconsider our direction. Yes, yes, yes. Perhaps we are fearful to look at the truth. Sue says, I need to learn about this one. Donna, paralyzed by fear. Oh, yeah, you got this one yesterday, Al. Maze Cat says, for some reason, I do love this card, and it does give me hope. I have to say, this is actually one of the first cards that I really learned the meanings from, and I kind of wish, and I may pull it out just for fun today if we have time at the end, probably one of my favorite 8 of Swords ever is from the Anna Kay Tarot. Does anybody have that deck? Do you know which one I'm talking about? Where she's looking in the mirror, and in the mirror she's trapped, but in real life she's not. I just love that card so much. Let's see. Beth says, I see this as the card regarding the collective vis-a-vis COVID. I feel as though we have answers, but we're imprisoning ourselves by our own actions. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh, only one more sword left in the suit. Yes, it signals lost direction and confusion. Overthinking, says Jackie. There have been better ways to get your feet wet. Yeah, true. Let's see here. Antoinette, refusing to take the easy exit. Elle Gardner says, so meaningful to me. It helped me let go of a lot of fear I had around beliefs last fall, shortly after I first started doing tarot. Yeah, sometimes it can be real easy to think about these swords that are trapping us as external things, external influences. But if we really bring it back to the suit, air, the mind, right, then we realize so often and more often than not, it's us being trapped in our own thoughts and our own beliefs. And a lot of those beliefs have been there for a long time. So those swords are pretty stuck firmly in the ground. Richard says, what's holding you back? You are. Look at what is around you to get help. Barbara. Hi, Barbara. We are stuck in a prison of our own making. Chris says, I normally see the 8s as stabilities, giving rise to advancement and progression. So a stable energy catalyzing a really high energy. right? It's kind of like the so close yet so far, right? We're so close to our end goal. If we can just get past this little hurdle, we're going to start to release some of those things that are holding us back. Oh, you guys are, yes, you guys know what I'm talking about with the Anna K, right? Maze Cat says, yes, that's why it gives me hope, because there are no enemies holding those swords, right? They're right here. We just need to recognize the gap that we have in the swords here. Laurie Tries Life says, or imprisonment by your own fears. And Gracia, same thing, trapped and restricted by our own fears. Chris says, with this particular card, it's the negative connotations of that. The feeling of being stuck, trapped, give rise to high mental energy. Being trapped in your head, going around in circles. Yes. Preach it, Jen. I have no idea what I said. Already it's gone. Antoinette, you build your own mental prison. You need to look at the causes. Yeah. Why are we trapping ourselves in this? Anne says, Jupiter and Gemini, expanding thoughts. There's a way out. Neem, hey, Neem, 3 plus 5 to get to the 8, right? Conflict is like exercise of the mind. It can be tough, exhausting, paralyzing, and painful, but it can strengthen the way you think and the action you take. The swords, air element. All right, well, you guys are coming up with some thoughts. Let me get the melanated version of this out. Don't want to leave that behind. I feel like the colors are going to stand out better too. My lighting's been really weird the last few weeks, and I don't know why. I promise I will give you a nice close-up look of this card here soon as well. Let me see. Is it better on this side? Nope. Still kind of shiny. There you go. That gives a little less glare there. Oh, Chris, I was there. I was doing it. I hadn't read your comment yet. Lori says we can be our own worst enemy. Robin says, are you bound to be hurt? How did you get yourself into that situation? Yeah. Is this a trapped situation of our own making? Often it is. Emily says this card is interference in thought and shortened force in the Golden Dawn. Shortened force. Shortened force. What does that mean? Barbara says, does the water imply that she is in touch with her emotions? She's getting hung up in emotion, or that tapping into emotion is necessary. Yeah, how many of us don't really notice the water in this card often, especially when we pull it up close. But I'm going to say I typically don't think about the water in this card at all. So I appreciate that being brought to the forefront. Elizabeth, helpless thoughts, limiting beliefs, inner critic, excuses, victim mentality. Gracia, to me, represents my own anxiety and how sometimes it doesn't let me live my life to the fullest. Don't we even have that as one of our questions today? Sue says, self-imposed thought structure, which can support or constrict. Ah, I got you. I'm behind in the chat just a little bit. Or maybe you are now. I'm not sure. Donna, can the stability implied by the number 8 also mean that these limiting thoughts, beliefs are very entrenched? Yeah, thinking again about the swords being so firmly stuck in the ground. And it might be that we can't take the swords out of the ground. We need to leave the swords behind. We need to walk away from them, is I guess maybe how I would look at that. Emily says, I love that Jupiter is the planet. That's the planet associated with this card? Like in the head, it would feel more like Saturn, but Jupiter does speak of that opening out and expansiveness. If we just take the blindfold off, we can be free. Antoinette says 8 is stagnation, obstacles to overcome. And we see, well, I was going to say we see mountains, but we also see something in the mountains back there too. So this is going to be interesting. Are we ready to I know oh, here we go. Oh, Mama, blinded to emotion, question mark. Yeah, see? Me not seeing the water. I tend to resist emotion sometimes, I'm not going to lie. Tarot Training says, Chris's comment on 8 reminds me of RWS 4 amplified in a restricted way. So we've kind of doubled that stability, but now it's turned into less of a free, kind of joyous type of stability. And now we're in this more challenging state of stability. Is that making sense? Elizabeth, ask yourself what you get out of remaining stuck and what you could gain if you were to move forward. Often, all that is needed to get unstuck is the courage to think in a new way. This kind of reminds me of I used to listen to this like fitness guru person all the time. And she would often say that, a lot of times we get paralyzed by fear. We don't want to move forward. We're worried we're going to fail, right? That's usually what it is some kind of fear of failure. It's not going to work out. Is it going to be worth the effort? Is it going to be worth the risk? Whatever it is. But when we look back over our lives, how often is it that we're more likely to regret the things that we never did, the things we never tried, the attempts we never made, than we are those things that we actually tried. And then if you take it a bit further, trying or getting yourself out of that place, allowing yourself to get unstuck, moving forward, even if it doesn't work out, at least you gave it the opportunity. If you do nothing, you guarantee nothing. So it's guaranteeing. By not moving, we've guaranteed that we'll never get the thing that we want, right? Or the thing that we're trying to unstick, or whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish with that. Anyway, just some thoughts. Emily says, speaks of when we feel trapped and anxious. Actually, these things we are concerning ourselves with are things that can be sorted out very easily. Elle says, Jupiter, Wheel of Fortune, plus Gemini, the lovers, equals 8 of Swords. Jupiter expands anything it touches. The path between the lovers will expand even wider. Interesting. Aquarius Owl, self-sabotage. Yes. Elle says, even if they weren't blindfolded, the person wouldn't see the 7 swords, but would see the one sword that would matter. That would set them free. The one sword that would matter, that would set them free. Is there just one, like the one in the front? I'm confused. Help me. D. Lady, hello. Let's see. Entrenched and stubborn, question mark. Yes. Paralysis by analysis, a common problem sometimes here. Yes, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Exactly. That's a much more succinct way of all that babbling that I was doing a minute ago. Laurie says, see, my name makes sense. Like, yeah, at least you're trying, Laurie, right? Every day. Okay, ignore Chris's comment. Got it. I'll come back to that later. Neem, feeling your way out, water versus thinking your way out, swords, and going back and forth and allowing it to consume you leaves you indecisive and stagnated. Yeah, back to that whole analysis by paralysis by analysis thing, right? Can I please put that in writing? I'll have to go back and watch it back. Sometimes I just get on a roll and then I black out, Elle says, the Melanated has a really cool section that talks about the meaning behind each individual sword. About 1/3, on the second page. I think this is a hint from Elle that I should read from the Melanated book. Subtle? Maybe not. All right, let's see. We have Pentacles, Wands. This book is all in a different kind of order than I order my deck. Okay, so there's Wands. Oh, no, this is one of the ones that does them in numerical order. That always gets me. My Mary L is doing that too. 8 of Swords, second page. Oh my gosh. Okay. So tell me if I have this section right. This indicates, let's see, the irony abounds. If we look at the actual 8 of Swords, we see someone is blinded. Oh, sorry, I lost my place. I want to read this. If we look, someone is blinded, bound, and lifted over land and water. This indicates there are situations and emotions this person does not want to deal with. Behind them is 7 swords, and in front of them is 1 sword. Even if they were unbound, they wouldn't see the 7 swords behind them, but they would see the 1 sword that matters. Since we know the swords represent words and thoughts, what are these 7 swords? And what's the 1 sword? The first 2 are the fact that the emperor doesn't know what he needs to say, and the empress doesn't know what she needs to hear. The 3rd sword is whatever painful karmic situations they dealt with in the world. The 4th represents the empress's truth, that she has no idea who she is or if she was ready for this. The 5th represents her losing her sweetness. Fuck y'all. The 6th sword represents Mercury turning their thoughts back towards fixing the past rather than continuing forward. The 7th sword represents the intuition that what the soul wants is different than what it thought. Therefore, the eighth sword represents what the person wants to say going forward now that all of that is behind them. But we don't know what that is because they aren't ready to see it or say it or think it. But whatever it is, I suspect it is the key to the lovers finding each other again, no matter how much has come between them. I'm going to need to read that at least 3 more times before that all sinks in. Wow. This book can get a little juicy sometimes, can't it? All right, let me see. Uh-oh, you guys were chatting while I was, there it is. Okay. Antoinette says this is a common air sign card for the fellow air comrades here. Yeah, I'm one of those overthinkers for sure. Yeah, you fail 100% of the time if you don't try. Exactly. Anne says maybe we should stay blocked by those swords. There's the 9 to come. Right? You know, that's us. In the 9, we're working through the fear that held us in place. Maybe that's what that is. Successful failure. You know, sometimes the only way to succeed is to allow yourself to fail over and over again. Oh, Elle was answering May's cat there. Emily says, I feel like shortened force may speak to the self-sabotage aspect, like doing amazing spell work to manifest a new opportunity, but then you might be really self-critical in your mind and undo the work. Becca says, I really need to get this deck. Yeah, if nothing else, for the book, right? Let's see here. Yeah, Jenna's getting clever every play date. I appreciate it very much. Sue said, ooh, interesting interpretation. Beth says, wow, that's a lot of good stuff to take in. Yes, yes. Just type it into the Facebook page because that is a mouthful. You know what, Elle? Let's write that down. Elle's my fellow like tarot playdate planner. So if you don't mind, please, honey, thanks. All right. Essence 818 Neem, the change could be better, could be worse, but some choose to stay uncomfortable because the position is familiar. You know, it's kind of that old adage, the devil we know versus the devil we don't, but we're assuming the devil's even involved, you know? Let's see. Beth says, humans learn by failing. It's like one long Greek play. You mean tragedy? Is that what you mean? Okay, shall we take a close-up look at the card and the symbols? I'm going to pull the original RWS back out. Let's see if you see anything in this card that you haven't before. I've already had people highlighting the water for me. Let's see if we can get some good focus for you there. So we have kind of the gray sky in this. Blindfold. One thing I never really noticed is I always kind of thought that was a mountain in the background. It wasn't until today that I really noticed the peak that indicated a castle, a village, some kind of human dwelling in the back. And we just have these kind of rough ground, the water running through it. We have a foot on land and a foot in the water. So that's kind of speaking to what we see in the Temperance card, perhaps. Interesting. All right. Simon is ready for me with these symbols. I love it. Thank you, Elle, for putting a link to the Facebook group. So Simon says the blindfold, negative aspects, unable to see what is going on, only focusing on one thought or point of view. Positive aspects, lack of bias, impartiality, not being taken in by appearances. Oh, I like that. I do always kind of see the blindfold as a bit more negative, and I like the idea that actually putting the blindfold on can have some positive aspects in this card, or positive meanings. And then the castle, positive aspects, protection, independence, safety, and security. Negative, cutting oneself off, self-imprisonment. Yeah, interesting that the castle represents that. It's kind of adding to that element, isn't it? And maybe like if we could get out of these swords and get to the castle, then we will find that security that we're looking for. The water and the earth. All life emerges from water, earth, and the sun. Conscious interaction with one's own basic aims. So just so you know, Simon is very kindly bringing these meanings forth from the Ultimate Guide to the Rider-Waite-Smith book. I've shown it in so many play dates. If there's anybody new here who doesn't know what I'm talking about, just raise your hand and I'll go ahead and show it. And let's see here. Beth says, is that one foot looking for solidity? Yeah. And Oak Mama, there are many ideas behind her. Donna, looks like the tide is out. She better move before it comes back. Seriously. All right. Encircling swords. You possess the swords and the power to free yourself from bonds. Your weapon is your intellect. I like that. Chris, my ice cream is channeling the 8 of swords and is refusing to thaw. The mountain. Conscious letting go gives the inner will knowledge and space to unfold itself. Those who plumb their own depths find it's easier to rise up high, overcoming difficulties. So you have to be willing to dig in to get out, right? Yeah, I like that. The binding, negative aspects, self-bondage, holding ourselves back. Positive, binding, loyalty, duty-bound. There's another one. So apparently the blindfold and the binding, I've really seen in kind of one, both in kind of the negative aspects, but I like this sort of loyalty aspect to binding. Like I'm bound to my word. There's a reason I'm held here. Interesting thing to think about. And then Oklahoma says blindfolds can also mean going within, retrospection, like in the 2 of swords. Yes. Becca says our mind can either free us or jail or trap us. Totally. Justin says the symbolism from this card is very Masonic. It resembles the initiation process of Masonry. Interesting. And Elle posted a link to the book. Oh, good modding today, Elle. That says, is the weapon the intellect, but also the prison? Interesting. Yeah, I think in this case, we could probably say it is. Chris says the only element we don't see represented in this card is fire. So does this show us what can happen if we don't ever follow our passions and seek to find our true purpose? It's a really important thing to remember when we read the tarot. It's like not only seeing what's there, but seeing what's not there. Like if you pull a spread for yourself and you see all of this grounding energy, right? But yeah, you're missing elements, you're missing aspects. And that means there's something there that we maybe need to work on. It can be hard to remember to focus on what we don't see. So I like you pointing that out, Chris. Thank you. Justin says it's also the point in the story where the jealous or envious Masons kidnapped Hiram Abif. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hiram Abif. They murdered him because he wouldn't give up the plans for Solomon's temple. So this is like a Masonic history. Is that kind of what that is there, Justin? White Tree Tarot, just thought of it. If you decide to do nothing in 2 of Swords, you end up here and it's even worse. And now, that's an interesting point, right? You just get further and further trapped. Beth said, that's interesting, Chris. We feel trapped because we lack the passion or inspiration to move forward. But then Sue says her dress is red, or at least this dark orange. Does that bring some of the fire element in? Maybe she's bound. We see that even more in this version of the card, right? So maybe her passions are bound to her and she's not setting them free. Would not have thought of that. Does anyone know the esoteric name? I know, usually Jonathan Daly brings those for us, doesn't he? Says all my pent-up TPD energy is being channeled into modding. Did you miss it, Al? I missed it. Justin says Waite talks about it in his book, Hidden Church of the Holy Grail. It's the story Pixie based the images on. So many books still for me to read, let me tell you. Donna says she's holding back from expressing her passion. Yes. And then Lori says, I was thinking along those lines too. It reminds me of stories you hear about how they tortured people historically. Are we torturing ourselves? Anne says, ooh, must remember to look for what element is missing. So helpful in reading the card. Yes. Yes, Elle is on fire. Shall we start looking at some of the alternative versions of the cards? You guys have any more thoughts before I do that? And then we can start answering the questions. Let me set those up there. Take a quick sip of water. Jonathan, were your ears ringing? I literally just said your name like a minute ago. Oh, Beth found it for us. The esoteric name is the Lord of Shortened Force. Robin says, I hate it when I get in a situation where my shoes get soaked and my dress gets wet. You know what? At that point, just embrace it and start splashing in the puddles, I say, right? I I've missed TBD an embarrassing amount. Aw, that makes my heart happy. All right, let's start cute today, shall we? With the Mons Tarot by Joanna Nelson. This will probably be very similar to our RWS, but with little cute monsters. So, plus it'll be a nice big card, which means it'll be easy to hold up, which I kind of like. All right. Oh, this is so cute. I was going to say that no matter what card I pulled, though. Let's be real. Okay. My candle is not setting things on fire. That's good. All right. These are the backs. This is the second edition of the Mons Tarot that I have. Oh, Anne had said too, Lord of Interference, Short and Force, Esoteric. Oh, okay. That was the one that was said above too. Okuma had said, I think she is moving away from the village, from that large body of water, perhaps toward the source of that water. Oh, that's a good point too. Although it does kind of look like the source of water might be behind, but maybe that's feeding a bigger source of water. All right, let's take a nice close look at our, I don't have a touch screen, at our Mons Tarot, Eight of Swords. Now, she looks much less distressed. And I say she, I guess, because she has a flower in her hair, but there's no gender in tarot. Not really. Okay, so this talk about like self-entrapment, right? Your own body is trapping you. We have the swords. Now, these swords are a little more scattered around our little monster here, rather than necessarily being 7 behind and 1 in front. So that's kind of an interesting difference. And does that bring a different meaning to it? But let me know what you guys think. Oklahoma says, yeah, I need cute this week. Don't we all? Oh, yeah. We've got some folks loving the Mons Tarot. Anne says, I bought this deck, but I'm not really sure it's for me. I did not think this was for me at all. I got the Whispering Spirits, but every time I see or use these cards, they make me smile, but also the meanings are there. So, Ermagerd. Did I say it right, Chris? Let's see here. Becca, I love this so much. I'm glad, Becca. Jonathan had said the esoteric title, Lord of Short and Force, means that her force or awareness is shortened or restricted. Because her force is shortened, she is unable to make choices, unable to solve problems. Now, Elle's noticing that the Eight of Swords in the RWS seems to feature all the elements, whereas the Mons Tarot is missing a water and a fire element. Yeah, there's no water in this one. Although, I mean, okay, that's not a lotus. You know how sometimes the cups can be represented by lotus flowers? I was like, could we kind of picture in the hair, wait, this side, a little lotus maybe? What does the flower add? Robin says, a tall tail of entrapment. That's its tail. That's its own little tail coming out and trapping it. I mean, talk about trapping yourself. Like, just unwind your tail. Walk away. Let's see here. Becca says, this deck never fails to cheer me up. I said it perfectly. That's how I sometimes start my glides with Kelly Bear. Ermagerd. White Tree Tarot. This little creature is binding its own legs by its tail. Exactly. Is something crawling up that sword? Ooh, good spot there. Yeah, Joanna's signature. This is crawling up that sword. But it does look like something is like kind of creeping its way up there, doesn't it? The tail thing is so cute. So do you feel like, one thing I will say, like when I compared this to this feels calmer, right? She's like, this almost feels like it's like, no, it's stubborn. That's the word I want. Like here, this feels like more stressed and this feels more stubborn. Like, nope, I'm not moving. I am not leaving my secure little cage here. I am not comfortable moving forward. So I'm going to close my eyes and pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist. That's the feeling I get from this card. Whereas this one, it's more like, I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know which way I should go. It feels much more anxious and stressed. Does that make sense? Kind of those two different vibes that I'm picking up from those decks. Does this card have the title? Is there a title in the book? No. Oh, do you mean, oh, it does. It's just really hard to see with my crappy lighting. There we go. 8 of Swords. Yeah, so it does on the title. You're just probably not seeing it because it's blending in the way my light is shining. Is that what you were asking me, Lori? Let's see. Beth says, so its little arms are behind its back and its little eyes are closed. Why do I want to give it chicken noodle soup? I don't know. That's really cute. Is that a tooth or a tear? Oh, I feel like it's a tooth. Or a little like sideways. Oh. Yeah, it looks like a tooth to me, the way it's poking out of there. But interesting observation there. Oh, see, and Anne saw it as a little teardrop. Lori says, very indignant, kind of triumphant. Let's see, Donna says, yes, no blindfold, eyes deliberately closed. All right, yes, Jen, or whoopsie. Like a little fang. Yeah, it looks like a little monster fang, doesn't it? Okay, shall we answer our first question with this card? Okay, I need this reminder to go away. Okay, first question today from Corvin Tail Raven Tarot. How can we stay focused on our goals this week? Maybe we should start by opening our eyes and seeing and remembering what our goals are, right? Because if we close our eyes, then we're not able to really, unless we're going within to visualize, right? But if we're kind of closing our eyes, going, no, I don't want to deal with it, you got to open your eyes. That's step one. But I do want to know what you guys are thinking. Chris said, in this one, the swords aren't all perfectly vertical. They are at different angles. We can trap ourselves with conflicting thoughts, all trying to make sense of a situation we are struggling with, right? And kind of feeling like things are leaning in different directions. Like first I'm thinking that. No. Now I'm thinking that. Yeah. Donna says, my boxer looks like that sometimes with her tooth sticking out. Yeah, and you have to say it like that, tooth. This is good visual interpretation. Yes, he does. He does capture the meanings of the cards quite well. Oak Mama says, cut out the distractions. Make lists. Yeah, let's just organize all these chaotic thoughts we're having. Open your eyes and hit that thumbs up. Thanks, Jenna. Let's see here. Emily says, almost like the monster feels as if they are taking the high road, but actually it's ego getting in the way of processing emotions, feelings, pain, etc. Ah, yeah, see, that's stubbornness that I was talking about. Oh, true. We also don't have kind of the city and the mountain in the background, right? So it's a much more kind of plain landscape. So I think in this card, maybe some, in the better light, if the castle and the mountain can represent like the challenges that we're facing or the thing that we're trying to get to, here that's a bit more ambiguous. Oh, that's cute. Laura, it reminds me of little ones when they close their eyes and think you can't see them. Right, you can't see me, right? Did play date just end? Elle, did somebody say lists? Do we have any other thoughts on how we can stay focused on our goals this week? Ooh, I was going to say, Corbin, what do you think? Don't ignore what you have to do. You're the one making these swords and obstacles. Yeah. Oh, I like this one too. Antoinette, be honest with ourselves and cut out the distraction. It's really funny. Like I have my daily draw today. I've been really procrastinating very badly. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but yesterday I was like taking a selfie. I'm like, I'm literally sitting here procrastinating. And I have so many things that I want to do. So today I actually had another 8 in my daily draw, the 8 of Pentacles. It's like, okay, I need to remember that I need to be doing the work and I need to not get distracted by fish jumping out of cups, right? So this card is very appropriate, I feel like. Robin says, when you want to move forward, don't trip over your own tail and keep your shoelaces tight. Yeah, good advice. Emily says, yes, ego definitely protects us, but it also gets in the way of being able to actually face what comes up for us. Yes. Oh, wow. You are on it with the links, Elle. Working some mod magic today. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next deck. Look at my happy bubbly water. All right, this one is going to go, this one's probably going to be a little deeper, I think. I have the Tarot of the, gosh, what is with the light? I don't even have that much light on, but it's because it's so dang sunny. Tarot of the Golden Wheel. There we go. It's a little better on that side. I even have my blinds closed, and it's still super bright in here. All right, I have the book in case we decide we want it. And I'll pull it up close right away so you can see it close up. All right, let's put that there, that there. Don't kick yourself out of your stream, Jen. Here are the backs for those of you who maybe haven't seen this deck before. And here we go. So this deck, just to kind of clarify kind of what you're looking at, is inspired by Russian fairy tales. So it's a, kind of a Russian deck. So that's what you're going to see here in the imagery with the clothing, etc. I'm going to let you take one more look at it here. So here she has her eyes closed, head bowed. We don't see the blindfold, but again, kind of that willful closing of the eyes. That sleeve is very long. She's standing here. Now, this is interesting. She's standing on a sword at the edge of a cliff. Okay. What do you all think of that? All right, let me get caught up on the comments here. Yeah, so you guys already kind of caught on to that. And then Barbara had said in answer to the last question, keep an open mind. Don't remain so stubborn in your ideas that you can't see or feel what you need to. Emily says this feels more somber. Beautiful deck. Wow. A cliff. Yeah, Donna, she's awfully close to that cliff. Yeah. Yeah, so you saw that too, Chris, that she's standing on a sword. What is the fairy tale associated with the card? I will read from the book here in just a moment after you guys give your first impressions here. Justin says, ooh, she resembles the fool there. Yeah, but definitely not with that happy-go-lucky ignoring the cliff. She's like staring down at the cliff's edge, but then she's closing her eyes. Like, what if she loses her balance and falls over? Is that water or a cliff? What does the book say? She looks in despair, like a scared fool card. She looks more like she's mourning. Not too late to back out. On the cliff, but not optimistic. She looks melancholy. All right, let's see what the book says. Oh, yay, big font. I appreciate that. So this book doesn't really speak to the artwork, but I'll go ahead and read just the little summary here really quick. Let me get better lighting there for you. This card is a warning of there's one keyword here. You can't see it, but it says trap. This card is a warning of a dangerous and negative situation, unexpected incidents, hostile environment, lack of freedom, futile efforts. The energy is blocked, impotence and paralysis. The atmosphere of criticism, condemnation, stiffness, fears, confusion, communication problems. So, and I'm going to read to you the upright and reverse keywords because you're right. This has a much more melancholy feel, and that's clearly purposeful by the creator of the deck. Upright, barrier, misfortune, weakness, reverse, alleviation, rescue, and adventure. And I find that interesting that rescue is the word used because so often I feel like this card is not about being rescued by others, but rescuing yourself. So what do you guys think here? Anne said, seem like she's caught up in her own thoughts and fearful of stepping forward. Oh yeah, and I knew what kind of mourning you meant. Barbara, if you hold on to your ideology, I got it. Too strongly without keeping an open mind, it will lead to your downfall. So bringing that kind of stubborn element back into it. Really small swords, but big cliff edge. um, is she scared to move because the sword will fall off the cliff? But that fear is keeping her trapped. Yeah, what would the reverse be? Yeah, exactly. Apparently being rescued by somebody else, which I don't really love that aspect of it. Chris says, scared to move away from a certain mindset, even if it's outdated, no longer relevant, probably because it has saved you in the past. Jackie says, ooh, maybe the sword on the ground is the line not to cross. Yeah, in this case, I feel like you have to back away to get out of this situation. Moving forward in this case isn't the best answer. We have to turn around, redirect, go a different direction in order to get out of this particular mindset, is sort of how I see that. Donna says these swords are dug in even more deeply than the RWS. Yeah, that's what's making them so tiny, huh? Oh, have good lunch, Corbin. Beth says, what about the coloration of the card? Lots of blues and yellows. Isn't yellow optimism? Blue is emotion, perhaps. Yeah, so maybe that's where we're getting in some of that. Sue says, standing on the sword may be a self-imposed resistance not to use what it offers. Oh, that's interesting. So rather than picking up the sword and using it, stepping on it, holding it down, leaving that in a place that's not serving us. Donna, has she just witnessed a battle and the warriors fought their way over the edge of a cliff? Oh, that's sad. Tarot trainee, is she standing on her own idea or info, like tramping down on her thought? Jonathan, when we are caught off guard by something we had no way to plan for, we become paralyzed, just like finding yourself on a cliff edge. Melanie says, but to back away, she has to open her eyes. Yes, like, please, for safety's sake. L. Gardner, moving forward away from the swords can feel very scary. I mean, especially in this case, right? Jenna, still coloring. Are you coloring this card, Jenna, the Eight of Swords? Is that the one you're doing from the Modern Witch? Justin, standing in the sword could not be, or on the sword could not be acknowledging the truth of a situation. Yeah, and it's kind of like adding to the blindfold or closed eye element, right? All right, so from May's Kate today. Oh, now this is interesting that this card and this question are paired together today. For those of us who are feeling stuck, stressed, or completely overwhelmed, which this card really highlights those feelings, I feel like, what resources are we overlooking or what do we need to let go of? Ooh, well, I think I kind of love that for this particular card. What resources are we overlooking or what do we need to let go of? What you think? Yeah. Oh, see, Justin, I was thinking the same thing, especially when she has her eyes closed willfully. And then Sue said, maybe like the fool, she has to take that leap. And Anne says, seems like a perfect depiction of shortened force, right? With the esoteric title. Yes. Oh, wow. I just got a whole bunch of, oh, wait, there it jumped. Our ability to see. So that's what we're overlooking is literally if we just open our eyes, that's going to be a pretty big step in the right direction. Oklahoma, same thing. I think we need to open our eyes. Ooh, Spitfire. Hello, by the way. Even if there's a battle won, there are losses that can't be overturned. Let go of the loss. Yeah. I was thinking about that one. It's, this kind of brings in like a Five of Cups element, doesn't it? The way that she's postured reminds me of that quite a bit. Paul says, if you have a great idea, act on it, right? Maybe don't just stand there in fear or be paralyzed by the fear that it won't work out, right? Going back to that. Aspasia rising, maybe let go of feelings of sorrow or lack of personal power. Emily says, with the water, trusting our intuition could support us now. Oh, I actually like this. Use your wand, not your sword this time. Yeah, so if she's going to step on her sword, she's got to pick up her wand that we don't see, buried in the dress somewhere, right? Antoinette says the answer is right under the situation. Check on. Up here. Am I back? I think I'm back. Okay. Am I back? Tell me if you see me, hear me. Oh, I'm really pixelated though, aren't I? Let me try something here really quick. I'm going to switch Wi-Fi networks. No. Hold on here. How are we doing? I'm back. Okay. I'm still funny. Okay, I have like blazing fast internet from yesterday, but it doesn't seem to be. Are we good enough? Okay, I'm going to pause this over here. My quality is a little funny. Let me check one thing and make sure. Yep, I'm still on high definition. All right, and then, oh, make sure your settings didn't set me to like really low quality. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys, for the patience. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything that happened. Okay. Justin had said, yeah, I thought the same about the Five of Cups. Tarot trainees said, don't restrict your own ideas. Take stock in what you know. Emily said, time can allow us to heal. So sitting with discomfort and being kind to ourselves. And Oklahoma says, thanks for the answers. Emily says, giving ourselves space to feel what comes up and not putting pressure on ourselves to take action immediately. Becca says, hope the problem will go away if you close your eyes. I kind of hoped my internet problem would go away if I closed my eyes. Just reopened it. Okay. Sticking, robot, oopsies, pixelated, gone, back. All right, I'm catching up. Okay. Less of a delay now. I'm looking clearer the longer I'm on, still a little fuzzy. Oh, CCAT said, would like to mention that the long sleeves are too long to pick up the sword. Oh, that's actually really kind of an interesting observation, right? There's really only one. Oh gosh, there we go. Only one sleeve. Hopefully that's showing up. Is it still fuzzy? Oh, now I'm sharp. And you might need to refresh. A way to push through the entrapment of crappy internet. I literally just yesterday talked to my cable company and they doubled my internet speed. So it has more to do with the Wi-Fi. Okay, things are starting to look better for folks. Phew. Did we say Mercury retrograde was just around the corner? Somebody was telling me recently, like there's going to be something in retrograde for the rest of the year. Not just Mercury, but like all the different planets. We don't get a day for the rest of the year where things aren't in retrograde. Something isn't. Let's see. Donna said, or maybe she has found the abandoned swords and only believes the battle was lost. Make sure you are not assuming bad things that may not really happen. Jonathan says, I'm imagining her closing her eyes going, nah, can't hear you. All right. Thanks for the feedback on the quality, you guys. And thank you for your patience as we worked through that little Eight of Swords moment. All right. Let's go ahead and pull out our next deck because I don't want to lose too much time here. Becca said shit. Why did Becca say shit? Am I gone again? I don't think I'm gone. I hope I'm not gone. Okay. Let's pull out now. Okay, we're going to tap into our imaginations here a bit with the Alice Tarot from Baba Studio. And let's see how we do here. I do have the big book, but I'm hoping we have enough Alice fans in here. I won't need it. Let's see. Let me pull. Let me get myself organized is what I mean. We'll get the Six of Swords. Nope, not Six of Swords. Oh, this is a fun one. I think anybody who knows the Alice story knows this. Okay. Oh, things being in retrograde for the rest of the year. That makes sense why she would say that. Okay, so here are the backs of the Alice. This is out of print currently. Sorry. But here is Alice in her Eight of Swords moment when she grew a bit too big for the house. Let's see. Emily had said with the dress, sounds it doesn't it? But I'm actually serious. If the person can't pick up the sword wearing the dress, they could take it off and solve their own problems themselves. Yeah, you just got to be willing to be vulnerable, right? So what do we think of this one? I mean, I feel like this is interesting because I think it's a little bit harder for her to get herself out of the situation she's in, but she definitely got herself into it, if that makes sense. Sue says confined by structure, right? I mean, there's literal walls now in this situation. Now, she does have a way to get out of it, as we know from the story, but Aspasia Rising, Alice is a lot calmer than I would be in that situation. Seriously, right? Antoinette, ego is a bit big for your boots. Maze Cat, this looks like it would be a really cool deck. Yes, I definitely feel trapped in my house lately. I can relate to that Eight of Swords. You know, you make a good point, right? A lot of us have been isolating for a really long time. And he says, I love this part in the story, right? It's like she takes one bite of the mushroom and she gets much too big or much too small, and then she gets much too big, I think is the order that it goes in, right? She's got to figure out that moderation. She's kind of going to extremes here for a bit, which doesn't always get the job done. We have to find that balance. I don't know if you guys have many other sort of initial thoughts, but I think what I'm going to do, since I did lose a little bit of time with the internet problems, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to go straight to our question from Robin Toadstool Tarot. How can we be at our best every day? Ooh, how would you answer that using this card? How can we be at our best every day? Robin had said, sometimes life can feel claustrophobic. And then Emily said, extremes, a bit too far one way and then a bit too far the other way. How can we find the middle ground? Yes, exactly. Yeah, we were on the same page there, Emily. The same story page, so to speak. Becca says, very claustrophobic card. Beth says, so this card seems to point to the choices we made. Whoopsie. Sort of getting us in a predicament, and then we have to figure out how to get out of it. Exactly. It's like, okay, I've kind of made this mess. Only I can get myself out of it. We can't look for external rescue necessarily. Yeah, it kind of makes me hyperventilate. Emily says, so to answer the question, try to be in the present and live as mindfully as possible. No, I'm not gone again, am I? Am I gone? Okay, I'm not gone for anybody else. Although it's still got a little bit of that blurry look, but it sure makes me look like I don't have any wrinkles, so that's nice. All right. Robin says, be at our best every day by kicking off the roof on our thinking. So thinking creatively to get out of this mess. I mean, taking the house down with you, sure. But Donna says, stay away from the shrooms. I mean, you know, there's that. Sue says, don't confine our minds by structure. And then, don't let your ego resist your progress, says tarot trainee, right? Yeah, or get in the way of it. Emily says, try not to ruminate too much on what we can't change or control, and try not to worry too much about what may or may not happen in the future. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm still here. Thanks, everyone. What would I do without you? Emily said, yes, love that. Thinking outside the box. Oak Mama says we need to take a moment to breathe and consider our options. So don't panic. If you're feeling a little claustrophobic, don't panic. Breathe. Yep. Definitely stay calm and you got this. You can figure it out. Neem says coming to terms that our best doesn't equal perfect. It means attempting to get it right every single day, right? We learn, we do better. Jonathan, not letting stress, confusion, and a lack of understanding take your power away. Like strength, you will need to find your inner strength to overcome this. Don't let your ego get carried away. Stay humble. Yes, all good stuff. Okay, sorry, I'm going to keep kind of things moving. So that was our third. So for Jenna Ball, who I think is coloring in the book right now, I have the, I wanted to call it the Everyday Witch. That's not right. The Modern Witch Tarot. By Liminal 11. You know, I was putting, this was the only deck that I needed to put in order last night, and I was putting it in order, and I thought I need to pull this deck out again. So I think this might go into my rotation this week because I was really enjoying looking at the cards. All right, let's get, and this is also very much a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, so we should see some really familiar imagery, but in a modern way. May's Cat had said, be at our best by seeing the challenges as interesting and playful predicaments, like Alice dealing with the absurd. Yes. Antoinette, don't feed your monsters. I like that. Emily, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. And oh, my boss says this all the time, and now I've started repeating it as well. Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Or she always kind of says, done is better than perfect, right? The cards aren't bigger, these ones, if that's what you meant, but they are thicker, definitely thicker. This is the Modern Witch. Again, we got kind of a light thing happening here, but that's kind of the true color there. Let's take a quick look. There we go. So here again, we have the blindfold, the binding, standing right smack dab in the middle of the puddle. Although it looks like her boots can handle it. We have a bit of a kind of a mountain / cityscape happening in the background. And then again, I think we have more of the, it looks like she's more in the swords like we saw in the Mons Tarot than maybe having them all behind her. So those are some kind of initial observations that I have. What do you guys think? Do you see anything different in this particular version? Let's see if we look at this compared to this. Can I get them close? Right, there we go. Pretty similar, I think. Yeah, Bess is very RWS except different foot placement. Right here in this one, we don't have one foot on the land and one foot in the water like we did in the RWS. Both are in the water. Does that make it more emotional? But also the body of water is much smaller. So maybe that's where the balance happens. She has both feet in water. Robin says she looks like, I don't want to play this game anymore. Let's go straight to the question on this one too, because I feel like this is another one where the meanings are pretty similar because it is so close to the RWS, and this might be a fun one to answer. Emily's question, which is how can we remediate any resistance we may feel to emotions or shadows that might be surfacing this week? Ooh, I feel like the tarot, again, sometimes it just has like the most literal answer for us, doesn't it? Barbara said she's definitely more entrenched in the water than the RWS. Maze Cat, is there no castle mountain in the background? There kind of is. It's really subtle. It's this line work. Can you see it back there now? I get a little bit of a shine on this card, but there we go. Do you see kind of that cityscape going up a hill there in the back? Oakham is noticing the water placement. Oh, no. She wet herself waiting. Well, you know, that could be a problem if you stay in one place too long. Nature keeps moving, you know? Justin says, I also see that card as putting inflated or unrealistic expectations on others, usually fueled by projection or aspects of your own shadow. I mean, how often do we do that? We project our things that we fear, our things that we don't want to see. We project them right onto other people. Aspasia Rising says she seems very lost in gray. Yeah, the mountain is very lightly sketched in. Palstow 10 says gratitude journal for sure this week. But the water emotion may lead her through the maze of ideas to freedom. Oh, I like that. Like if she taps into her intuition and her emotion. Emily says, yes, I think this card really speaks to the resistance. Saturn T square. We may feel as we are faced with asking ourselves questions about where we are right now, which is what Scorpio is doing, right? So I actually want to think on that for 1 second before I spit it all out because I want to make sure I have the full question. So remediating the resistance we may feel to emotions or shadows. And I think right away, again, with the blindfold, it's like we need to take the blindfold off. We need to look at those emotions. We need to look at those shadows. Sometimes I get very stubborn about not wanting to look at emotions. And in fact, I recently got an oracle deck called the Reclaim Oracle that is all about emotions. And every time I go to pull cards from it, I just get mad at it, which means I need it, right? I need to look at that. I need to explore why I'm feeling that way. I need to take the blindfold off and not ignore those things. But sometimes it makes me cranky. Not gonna lie. Bye, Maze Cat. Thank you for being here and contributing so much. I appreciate it. And Emily said, we may find that it relates to the daily habits with Sun and Taurus as well. So stubborn Taurus, right? Along with our stubborn character in the middle of all those swords. Jonathan says, you need to expand beyond your current understanding and do research beyond what you know, right? Robin says, we've all got problems. Sometimes we just have to say, F it, piss on them. I mean, there's Robin finding a way to take the literal in the card, right? Antoinette, need to stop sitting at the crossroads. Choices are required to create movement and growth. So remediating the resistance we may feel to emotions or shadows that might be surfacing. It's really being willing to face them, right? And do what we need to do to get out of that stuck place. Emily says, I think we have to ask ourselves why if we find we're uncomfortable with something or what we can do to find a joy in whatever it is. Yeah, definitely. Any other thoughts on that before I kind of move us right along to our fifth and final deck this week? Oh, what does her face look like? I will show you one more time. It gets a little shiny up close, but hopefully you can kind of see. So she looks a little stressed to me. Sorry, I try to hold still, but up close it looks even shakier. Does that help? Al, after experiencing feelings, I decided that this just isn't for me. Thank you for the opportunity. Sometimes. Emily says, giving ourselves the time we need to process until we're ready to take that blindfold off. Yeah, we just have to make sure we don't get stuck in that place, right? Sometimes I think that can be really healthy, but it can border on unhealthy if we use that as like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And sometimes we're just never ready and we just have to do it and kind of face what's there. Look around. There's going to be a way for us to get out of that if we're willing to face it. Jonathan, take matters into our own hands and not wait for someone to rescue us, right? Emily says, yeah, I think she looks fearful. Robin says, it almost looks like she's peeking out from under the blindfold. And yes, absolutely. I'm glad you understand what I'm trying to say there. All right. I have one more, and I know I'm kind of moving right along here, but I'm trying not to be late today. Oh, I like this one too. Tarot Trainee says, you're standing in emotions, but look around for ideas to get past it. Yes. Okay. Ella can do that, White Tree Tarot. Okay. Oops, I don't want to move on. So the last one I have, this is always a fun one when I pull one of my 78 tarot decks. Again, sorry, out of print. This is the 78 Tarot Mythological or Mythical Tarot of the Legendary. So it's always fun because usually there's like mythological creatures in here or more of a fantasy element in this particular deck. It can be fun. Let's see what we've got for Eight of Swords. This is interesting. I'm going to leave you guys on a really challenging note today, I think. But don't leave me. Stay here. Okay. I'm also interested to see what our activity is for this card. Let's see. Okama had said, reminds me of Houdini, who would bulk his muscles up when tied. Then he'd relax the muscles and the ropes would fall off. So maybe the message is to relax and let the ropes fall off. Spoiler alert. Spoiler. Now that we know how the magic is done, right? Here are the backs of these, by the way. Same as the box. All right. So this one is by the artist is going to be very difficult for me to see. So maybe we'll see it in the camera. Here is the Eight of Swords from our 78 Tarot Mythical. Let's see if I can get some focus. Come on. You know you want to. There we go. There is a lot going on. We have snakes in the hair. We have scars and scratches. We have shackles. Like, this is something. This is by Oharma T. Letevre. That's how I would say that probably. This is a very chaotic Ace of Swords, in my opinion, compared to some of these calmer images that we've been looking at. Is that Medusa? You know, it very well could be. I didn't know, I thought Medusa was like a land walker, though. So let's get the book out because that'll be helpful. And see what we've got here. That's cups. Where are the swords? Here we go. I always tried to do this with one hand, which is always a little sketchy. All right, let's see what we've got. Yep, it is Medusa. It's Dharma is the name. I read that as Sharma or something. There we go, Dharma T. Lefebvre. I chose Medusa because she was considered powerful, but was also a victim of her own face and decisions. This card speaks of heavy choices you must make and the things that are stopping you from making wise choices. I personally get in my own way a lot, from anything like overthinking to even chickening out on making a big decision. So the lesson of this card not only fits with a lot of what I do to myself, but what happens when I let my own fears get the better of me. Medusa's eyes are not only blindfolded, but she is unaware that her own snakes are what seem to be doing the most damage, and the chains that hold her back can easily be broken. So there we go. What do you guys think about that? Yep, Dharma. Sorry, I totally said that wrong initially. Let's see what you guys think here. Intense. Yes, Medusa. Reminding you missed your hairdresser's appointment. That's a definite look to your ancestors card. Ooh, you remembered the question. Interesting. Medusa was a Gorgon, snake plus woman. See, you guys know your mythology better than I do. That's for darn sure. Oh, and of course, she's blinded. Beth says she was mortal and beheaded. The blood that sprang from her head created her two sons. The severed head was given to Athena. Ooh. Hey, Kristen, making it just for our last card here. So does this give you any kind of a different overall feeling of the Eight of Swords before we move on to answering the question? Any kind of initial thoughts? I really like the fact that we're kind of, again, making sure we're recentering it on herself, right? Her choices, her decisions, our decisions. And then Chris says, Medusa wasn't always a monster. She was turned into one by Athena because Athena was jealous of her beauty. So there is an outside element here that contradicts exactly what I was just saying. Beth says, so taking the idea of using the severed head on Athena's shield, then take sorrow from past ancestors to grow and empower yourself. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to get that question up here in just a minute. Betty says, I'm new. Hi, Betty. What deck is this? And yes, it does feel like Eight of Swords. So this is out of print currently. Well, probably for whatever. This is the 78 Tarot Mythical collaboration deck that's produced by 78 Tarot. So there's 78 different cards by different artists in this deck. So I don't often use it for reading, but I love it for play date. Beth says, learn, grow, empower. And then Tarot Trainee says, didn't Medusa's gaze turn others to stone? Yes, right? That's the part of the myth that I know. Okama says she cared that her priestess was defiled. Ooh. And then Athena punished Medusa rather than Poseidon. Oh, let's not get into all of that, shall we? I have so many thoughts on that. So let's go ahead and get into our fifth question because we still have to get to reversals in our activity before we end today. So from Antoinette and asking about the Akashic records, and then Aspasia kind of bringing it into how to relate that. For those who don't know what that is, how can we best connect with our past lives, ancestors / Akashic records? So maybe it's understanding the history of things that have gotten us to where we are today. And a lot of times that can be about, people talk a lot about ancestral wounds and how to heal those. Or, in fact, Jonathan, I think, is going to be talking about that soon, but we'll talk more about that later. But also like old belief systems, the things that carry us forward, or the beliefs that people project onto us that can trap us as well. So in this case, when you talk about this, where Athena, I think you said it was Athena, turned Medusa into this, it's Athena's issues that got projected onto Medusa, and now Medusa is owning those and somehow has to find a way to break free of those. I mean, I might be stretching a little bit, but if I'm thinking about the standard Eight of Swords, those old belief systems can often be what trap us. And this has been something I've been thinking about and talking about a lot lately. Let's see what you guys think here. Antoinette said Greek myth and pantheon may connect some answers to past life issues. Ogama says, I'm still waiting for my ancestral tarot book to arrive. I have that one. Is it the ancestral tarot? Are you talking about the Ancestral Path Tarot guidebook, or are you talking about a different book entirely? Antoinette says, let go of worrying about how others perceive you. Yes, don't be focused on those projections that are being placed on you. Like, if you can believe and trust in yourself, maybe that's how you set yourself free. Just a thought. But anyway, any other thoughts on this one before we move on to reversals? Any other ways to sort of answer this question? What do you think, Antoinette? Because this stemmed from your question originally. I have either a delay or, let's see here. I think my StreamYard, it's really slow. There we go. I was like, I looked over at the YouTube chat and it was much faster. I think you can use this card and its myth to look at the histories of your ancestors and break free of some of that karma. Yeah. Oh, I see. So there was just a new book that came out on ancestral tarot. Oh, interesting. Antoinette said, external worries are just shallow reflections of self. Jonathan, don't let others' perceptions shape who you are on the inside. We're someone different for everyone we know. So true. Like, if anybody's ever read like the Four Agreements by Manuel Ruiz or whatever, it's like everybody who interacts with us, they have their own story about us that they tell themselves. And that's not who we are, right? We have to know and trust in our own story about ourselves. Emily says, there's definitely projection going on with this tale. I think we need to look at what trauma shadows may come from ancestral lines and how we can heal them. Tarot Trini said, what you think you know may not be truth. Don't let it be set in stone. Oh, I like that. Okama says, I'm hesitant to say anything stupid. Look within for the connection. Well, no stupid here in Playdate. Emily says, also, can we look at how we are treating others? Are we treating ourselves and others fairly? Robin says, your past may be set in stone, but your future is not. Very true. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. These were great. Hopefully that gave us some good answers to work with. So let's really quickly talk about when we have this card, because we're coming up on time. When we see this card in reverse, or if you don't read reversals, if it's in a position in a spread that represents a block or a challenge that we need to get past. Now, I know I read the reversals from the Golden Tarot. Is that what it's called? The Golden Wheel Tarot of the Golden Wheel, which was interesting because it has such a, it talks about being rescued, right? Which I thought was kind of interesting. Bye, Nicole. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Deep emotions may need some shadow working. That was Antoinette, I think, answering the last question. Bye, Oak Mama. Uh-oh, we're losing folks. We got to get these reversals done. Justin said, I think the usual Eight of Swords has more to do with how you view yourself and personal limitations. But the Alice card gave me a very inflated ego vibe. Yes. Bye, Beth. Thanks for being here. No clips involved in your walk. That's good. So here, maybe in reverse, we are even less likely to see the way out of these swords. I know sometimes that reversals don't always mean the exact opposite. And I don't read a lot with reversals, so I'm just kind of spitballing ideas here. But, because I feel like we've enhanced the blocking and trapping energy of this card by having it in reverse. So rather than it allowing us to escape, now we're having even more difficult time moving forward. But let's see what you guys think. Jonathan says, reversal Eight of Swords represents much of what the normal meaning implies. The difference now is it could be a more dramatic manifestation. For example, it could represent punishment, such as imprisonment. Ooh, ouch. I see what you're saying. And then Emily said, reverse, a sign that our fears are not based in reality. It may empower us to lift the blind and step away from the swords. Yes. Any other thoughts on the reversals of that? I feel like Emily said, oh, yes, absolutely. Could be so much worse. We are feeling incredibly blocked. Now, there could be an opportunity, like if you flip this upside down, you're like, yay, you're setting yourself free. Like, I think there's opportunity for that. And sometimes even when this card is upright, if I get it as an advice card, this is one of those ones. I remember the very first time I ever did a reading for myself online, the advice or what I wanted card came out as the Eight of Swords upright. And I sat there, I was like, what the heck? And then I realized, like, this is me wanting to get out of this headspace. Like, this is the opportunity for me to get out of my head, to stop restricting myself, etc. So a lot of times I'll see it like that right out of the gate. Sue says, I think reverse in this case lessens the impact, more empowerment. Yes. Yeah, show us your Eight of Swords in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group. Antoinette says the swords slowly fall away. So maybe the swords kind of, yeah, they just sort of dislodge from the ground and float away. Queen Esat Hiru says, reverse is when you see the truth and set yourself free. Gracia, facing your fears. Emily says, I think the meaning reverse will depend on the reading and the querent and the cards surrounding it and intuiting the meaning that is relevant. And then Chris said, so upright is seeing yourself as trapped when you're not. Maybe reversed is not seeing the traps that are there. Ooh, so then we're even more oblivious to the things that are holding us back. Interesting thoughts. I like those. Okay, before I set you on your way for the rest of your Sunday, let's talk about the activity we have for you this week. And I don't know who it came from. Let's find out here. Eight of Swords. Oh, I came up with this activity, so, be kind. All right, I will put this in the description box below this video, and I'll also post it in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group. Also, last week when I posted the Judgment card, I actually had the idea to, in my Instagram post, also include the activity, so I'll try to remember to do that this week as well. So, Eight of Swords, break yourself out of your rut. Have you become trapped in your routine and your usual ways of thinking? Even if you don't feel you have, give this a try. Find and try a new tarot spread that you've never done before. Repeat this activity until you find one that you definitely like to revisit again in the future. Be sure to make a note of it. So just kind of like shake things up a little bit. Do something a little new. Connect with your cards a little differently, but be willing to look at that in a way that allows you to break out of your rut. All right, my friends, that is it for our Playdate Revisited. Finally, we made it back. And let's see here. Let me get rid of that. Check your last minute comments. And Justin had said, yeah, exactly. Reversal can be tricky with cards that already imply negative traits, right? All right, my friends, thank you so much for coming back and being with me here today for Playdate. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Don't forget, Tarot Playdate Facebook group. Show me your Eights of Swords. Share with me your thoughts that maybe you weren't able to get out or articulate today. And I'll try to remember to post about what the Melanated said, because that was kind of juicy, wasn't it? All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Mwah! Bye.